Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to take a look at Julia Chang. It's taken me this long to remember how to play her, to get used to everything that's new, remember all the stuff I forgot, as well as find the time to just sit down and do this. This is a wild character. I've hated her for 15 years until I learned how to play her in the last game, and she turned out to be really, really fun. I think she's a fairly difficult character to master, both in terms of the game plan, how to use her moves, as well as some of the actual execution. It's not going to be easy to get used to shotgun windroll stuff right away. There's a lot of very particular input things this character has, but once you master that, you still have to master the wide variety of unusual things that she has. Little pokes with extensions and things that lead to mix-ups and stances, and it's all very unusual. A lot of characters have a flowchart, if this, then that. You know, you want to keep it simple. This character seems like she has that, but it's got different branches, let's say the least. So there's a ton of different things you can do, a smaller list of things that you should be doing. So let's take a look at all of those and what goes into making a really, really strong character with above average on almost everything. And we'll take a little bit of look at some of what the weaknesses are too. Okay, let's talk about Julia's punishers. This is actually a pretty strong aspect of the character, especially if you're capable of doing the things that she is able to do. 10 frames, she has a couple of options. 1-1 is pretty meager damage. You can go for that 2 follow-up if you think they're going to bait on it, but you're not going to get much from that. 1-2 is less damage, but she can go into windroll, either left or right. This gives you a small mix-up opportunity. We'll talk more about windroll at another time, but needless to say, you can go for a stance mix-up here. It's just not a very strong mix-up. It can be beaten. The real option out of 10 frames is 2 back. If you just press 2, you get a normal punch like that, but if you press 2 and then back, she does that spin. During that spin, if you press 1 plus 2, she gets that for free. That's 30 damage. You're plus 3 and their back is turned. You couldn't ask for too much more of a punisher. We've seen that move in several variations over the years, Wang and Michelle, and they've had different ways to do it, but this one is pretty good. It's damage and it's frame advantage. 10 frame punisher, really strong. Technically, her 11 frame punisher is Party Crasher. You would have to just be a huge nerd to be able to do this in 11 frames on block, reliably, or even every once in a while. It's supremely difficult to do. If you want to sit there and practice and learn it, you could. The best I could ever get it in was 12. I blocked this down back 1, and I could punish with Party Crasher, which is 12. Technically, it's 11. I trust the frame data. I've been able to do some of the other ones that it says are way too good, so I believe that this is 11, if you can do it. God help you if you can. That's mid. It's the biggest advantage to that. You have an 11 frame mid, which is super rare. And it's got excellent range on it as well. For 12 frames, you could just go for that. Forward 2-4. That works just fine. It is a high mid. You know, something is recovering and crouch, whatever. But that's pretty decent for your 12. I mean, you're still better off to go for this damage-wise, but that feels a little bit more natural to keep away. You know, you have a little bit more distance at the end of that. It's up to you. So far, this 10 frame punish has beaten everything. You don't really need to work on a bigger one until you get to 13. 13, you have down forward 3, 1 plus 2, which is a mid. It's a natural combo. You can't hit confirm it, though. It looks like there's a nice delay in there, but you can't. You got to go for it. It's pretty good damage in the knockdown and everything that you want. But if you were this same kind of huge nerd we talked about before, you can do this. Technically, that can be done in 13 frames as well. Forward, forward 3. You can do forward, forward 3. And then that. Instant running 2-1. Carry the rest of the way to the wall. Get 40-something, 47 damage. 47 damage off of a 13 frame punish. And possibly the wall carry too. That's absurd. But like I said, you have to just be perfect, absolutely flawless to be able to block someone's 13 and punish with that and get it reliably. It's super hard to do, but it exists. Otherwise, for the rest of us, that works pretty well. You get the knockdown on the wall splat at 13, which is all you really want. 14, you can use this. Down forward 4-2. It's minimal damage, but it's got good range. And you can test them with the mix-up if you want to. Not a good idea, though, really. Smart players are just going to sit there and take it. But at 14, you're going to have a little easier time going for that. That would be a little bit more doable, but not great. It's still going to be tough. 15 frames, takes it a little bit easy on you, down forward 2-1. She's got a basic launcher. Nice little cinematic launcher. Very, very negative on block, so you got to be sure about that one. It's 15 frames, but it doesn't get much easier than that. Super good range. Seems to suck them in a little bit. It works well. You can also do quarter circle forward too, which is that. This is a high, but it's safe. This also has a lot of good uses because it high crushes itself. This is a really good move. If you can do it in 15 frames, practice that. It's a much more useful tool to be able to just wing that thing out there. They both give you that high class launcher so that you get different combos you normally wouldn't. So work on that as well. Quarter circle forward 2 is an indispensable skill for Julia. And that's also 15 frames. But like I said, if you want to take it easy, that works too at 15. 16 are her hop kicks. Up forward 4-3. You can do this from crouch as well, which is nice, should you need that option. I'll tell you now that it's going to get patched out in the near future. There is an option select with this. If you just delay the 3 the tiniest little bit, it won't come out if the move gets blocked, which basically makes this safe. It exists now, but it's probably not going to exist in the future, so don't get used to it. Your hop kicks are going to be -13, like pretty much everyone else's. You have that extension, you can do this one afterward, but you lose the combo if you did. So kind of just think about it in terms of a regular ass hop kick. You want to just sidestep and do it. There you go. That's all you need. For her crouching punish, she has a while standing forward that knocks down, which is a nice property for a lot of characters. The drawback here is this is like -15. If you just like do this and they block it, that's a launch for them. That seems way too harsh for a while standing forward that knocks down. Lilies and Xiaoyus, they're not like that. That's a bit much. 12 frames, she has full crouch down forward 2, which is that. This elbow that you see out of shotgun. She can do it from a crouch position. That's pretty good as a punisher to be able to knock down. Also good as part of a full crouch mix-up game. So remember that one. Full crouch down forward 2. You block anything low, you might as well go for that and make sure if it's got a 12. Most things are going to be in the 12 area as opposed to 11. So learn to go for this on low blocks. It's worth it. 14 is her while standing 3. It's mid, it's homing. Spins them back, so it means it wall splats, but it doesn't knock them down. That's pretty decent. And at 15, she has while standing 1 for a launcher. This used to be slower. They sped it up so now that it is 15. So you get a basic launch at 15 like everyone else, and you don't have to rely on your hop kicks at 16. So she can launch at 15 with her while standing 1, just like she used to do, only it's a little bit faster. So that's a pretty good set of punishers. And like I said, if you have the execution to do what she's able to do, it's among the best set of punishment in the game. Starting off with that 30 damage on your 10 frame, and if you can get that 47 or whatever I said it was, playing on pad is a little tougher for me. 47 off of your 13 frame. That's absurd. That's a super good amount of damage just from those 2 alone. That's all you really need to worry about. And then you get a launch at 15 with this character just heaps on the damage. So if you want to sit there and practice that in the lab, it might be worth it if you're going to main Julia forever. Work on that forward 3. The instant you block, bang bang, and have that move ready to go. Let's take a look at Julia's stances, starting with the wind roll. Wind roll you can do by 3+4 or up 3+4. It'll make you go into or out of the screen. There are 3 strings that can transition into wind roll by just pressing 3 or 4. The first one we talked about in her punishment game, which is just 1-2. You can do 1-2-3 to roll up, or 1-2-4 to roll down. And that's true for all these strings. 3 rolls up and 4 rolls down. So 1-2 punches will do it, as well as the down, down, forward, the move that we call shotgun. This, if you just press 3, goes up, press 4 goes down. And the other one is her while standing 2. Tequila Sunrise can also go into wind roll. So those are your 3. You're going to use those frequently. You're going to use down, down, forward 1 a lot, both in combos and in pressure game. The other ones, you can take your chances with. If you keep your opponent guessing well, it'll be just fine. The 5 options she has out of wind roll make a pretty good series of mix-ups, but they're not the best stance transitions in the game. The first move, the 1 attack, is a high. This will launch you on counter hit. This is the fastest move out of the stance, so if you try to interrupt and you're wrong about it, this will counter hit launch you. 2 is also a mid. This will not counter hit launch you, but it does wall splat and knocks you back a little bit. Both of these are safe on block. 1+2 is also a mid that forces crouch like this. This will also counter hit launch you. Again, safe on block. So far, so good with this stance. There's nothing really missing there. She has another mid, which is 3, 1+2. Knocks you down. This one is not going to be safe. This is -13, as you kind of would expect. That's a move that feels like it's -13. It's a good mid, high damage, knocks down. You cannot hit confirm this. It looks like it's delayable. It's really not. You kind of have to let it rip. So that's 3, 1+2 out of the wind roll. The last option is 4, 1+2. Looks like that. It's a low into the shoulder that knocks you down. The shoulder itself is -16 if you happen to whiff. If you block that low, it's -84. It doesn't even matter. It's a tremendously low stagger block. You do not want to get that blocked, but you got to play the game. If you want to play the mix-up game, that's the risk that you take. So there are highs, mids, and lows. If you block the string that transitions her into wind roll, say you just block the 1-2 jabs and she goes into it, you can beat her out of all the options with a 12-frame move. The fastest move is the wind roll 1. This would trade with a 13-frame, which you don't want to do because she would still get the counter hit launcher in Tekken 7 rules. So a 12-frame move beats this out entirely. The only thing it doesn't beat is the low sweep because it'll high crush. Since your 10, 11, 12-frame moves are all highs, the low sweep will beat them. It high crushes before they're active. She'll go right underneath it. So if you do the math correctly, that tells you a 12-frame mid would stop everything. It beats out the fastest move, and it stops the high crushing move from crushing you. So if you're one of the select characters that has a 12-frame mid, and if Julia does something out of her wind roll, you can blow it up every time with that. If she does nothing, obviously she can just block. But if you have a Julia that wants to just constantly spin around and mix you up, 12-frame mids can stop that entirely. If you don't have a 12-frame mid, you have to make a read somewhere. There's no other choice. You can't step it universally. You can't get away from it entirely. You can try things like sidestep quickly to the right and then duck, and you'll beat this option, not that option. You got to make a read one way or another. You have to pick something and then try to beat it. So if you want to go low, for example, you would block the low and launch punish that. You would duck the high and launch punish that. So you kind of have to think about what your opponent wants to do and make a read. There's no other good way out of it. I will say, however, that if you get hit on the way into wind roll, if the 1-2 hits or shotgun hits you, she gets an extra 5 frames of advantage, which means you cannot stuff her from doing the 1. That one would be a guaranteed option. That one would not be able to be stopped. You would be able to jab her out of some of the other ones, but you're taking your life in your hands if you try. If you just got hit and you're thinking about jabbing the mix-up afterward, you might want to just reevaluate the whole thing and just kind of take your chances with it, be a little more passive, and try again. So just to recap, there's 3 strings. 1-2, down, down, forward 1, the shotgun, and while standing 2. All of those transition into wind roll. The moves out of wind roll, she has a high, a mid, another mid, a knockdown mid, and a knockdown low. 2 of them counter hit launch, and you kind of have to make a read one way or another. But put together, if the Julia player is guessing correctly, she's going to just walk all over you. She's going to get the knockdowns, the wall splats, the frame advantage, everything. You're going to have to do something to stop this mix-up game if that's the kind of thing the Julia player wants to do. You're going to have to be proactive. If not, she is going to just mix you up, and you're going to have a long day of trying to guess correctly. So Julia's other stance is called Swift Step. It is just this little hop forward, just done by forward +3. That's all you have to do, forward 3 into this little stance. She has 2 strings that can go into it. One is forward 2, 1, and just press 3, and you get the little hop. The other is down forward 2, and press 3, and you get that little hop. So the options out of the hop are to cancel it immediately with 1. If you just do forward 3 and then 1, you get while standing 1 because she recovers crouch right there. If you have to press 1 immediately, like that, before she even gets off the ground. If you press the 1 quickly enough, she'll give you that lunge punch. I have a hard time doing that on pad. There it is. This is a really good move all around. It's fast, covers a lot of distance. It's a high that's -3. It's not quite plus, but it's still pretty good. They're not going to be able to react to this sort of thing. So if you think about it in terms of coming out of the stance, like that, that's dangerous. They're going to have a hard time reacting to that correctly or doing anything about it. The fun part is the down forward 2 version. If you just do down forward 2, 3, 1, that's a natural combo. Excuse me. The hit stun of down forward 2 is enough that will hit them all on its own. It's an interesting kind of toss up because if you hit the down forward 2-1 is that launcher. So I mean, if you hit the down forward 2 and you don't get your launcher, it's going to kind of feel wasteful. But what this does is let you use this as a bit more of a pokey sort of tool instead of just a whiff punishment move. So that is a natural combo. If you want to consider working into your arsenal, you do have that. So canceling swift step with a 1 gets you this. Otherwise, if you just do the swift step, you have 3 options. 2 looks like that. Little mid punch. Knocks you down, safe on block. Launches you on counter hit. She has 4, which is this little low. It's only -13. Also launches you on counter hit. So what that's saying is you don't want to challenge swift step. You kind of want to just take it. What's the worst that could really happen to you? You get hit by this low? It's not a big deal. Taking that little 17 damage is not worth the risk of getting counter hit launched by anything else that it does. The other option she has is up 3+4, which looks like that. I don't see a good reason to do this other than you haven't done it for the last like 5 years and you're itching to do it again. I don't know. It launches on natural hit, but it's -16. And I really don't see an opponent that's going to duck reliably. I guess if you got them trained against this all day and they want to start blocking low against swift step, you can launch them with that, but shoo boy. It's not super worth it in my book. I would rather just swift step and do nothing and then, you know, try to counter hit their next attack like that and stay safe. I don't know. Because you could always just swift step and then do that 1. Since you recover and crouch, you get that mid launcher, which is only -13. So that's kind of an interesting move to me. I'm not quite sure what the intended usage of it is. It will high crush, I suppose. If you do catch them trying to counter hit you, you could, I don't know, this doesn't seem like a great move to have. You're better off to just go right into the lunge punch like that, or the 2 and the 4 mix up. The 2 and the 4 mix up is good. The 2 knocks you down and wall splats all on its own. The 4 is annoying, and they both launch you on counter hit. I think that's enough. That's enough considering the only 2 places you get this move are off of this anyway. There's only 2 ways to get to it. That's enough. The drawback is if you do get this string into the transition, they can definitely beat you by sidewalking to the left. If they're keen enough, they see, oh, there comes that forward 2-1 string, and she's probably going to go for that. If they start sidewalking to their left, they'll beat it clean. But that requires a very, very attentive opponent. Someone who's known how to do that and has practiced it and is ready for you to get baited by it. So if you see that, you kind of have to stop that whole thing. Just go for the stance and then nothing. They're waiting for you to, you know, overact and then beat you. So if you start seeing an opponent that's keen to that, just do the stance and then nothing. And you'll take that back away, forces them to reevaluate their game plan. So Swift Step is kind of interesting. I feel like this is the best thing that it does, canceling it right away into that big lunge punch. That's the best tool in my opinion. Every so often, boop, that little low will come in handy. You can use the delayed timing of the 2 for resets at the wall. Like that, you know what I mean? Weird little timing situations. That move kind of takes a second to come out, and it kind of messes with their timing a little bit. So that's really what it's for, is just to keep the opponent off guard. And if you do keep them off guard successfully, you get 2 counter hit launches. Not too bad. Let's go over Julia's whole move list, which isn't a long move list, but it's just enough beyond the basics that make this character really unique, really unorthodox to use and to play against. Let's start with just basic button inputs. She has a 1-1-1, which looks like that. If you get it on counter hit, that 3rd hit is free and it will wall splat. You should be able to sense this, but it's going to take some practice. If you just do that 1-2 and you could see them flinch, if they did something, you can let the 3rd hit go, but it's a pretty tight window. There are definitely other strings that are much easier to confirm in that way, but that is one of them. Third hit's minus 14 on block if you were wrong. She also has 1-1-2, which does that. She kind of fakes a hit into that palm strike. You're going to see that palm strike a lot. It usually follows off of uppercut moves like this, but she also has it here just to kind of mess with your opponent. You're going to see this weird little stagger delay stuff a lot, where if you think, okay, that's all she's going to do is just this, and then there's a, oh, she's doing another move, but wait, she didn't do a move yet, and then she does a move. That kind of feeling is like, what is she going to do next, and why hasn't she done it yet, can really keep you off guard. So that's 1-1-1 and 1-1-2. 1-2-1-1 looks like that. No one is ever going to get hit by that, to be honest. Everybody and their grandmother knows that low is there. They're going to low parry it, block it, whatever. It's, I don't know. I guess if you've trained the opponent a million times that it's not coming, they might fall for it. Even if you do 1-2-1, that's not a natural combo. That third hit is minus 14. So even if you start going for that all day, you're going to get punished for it pretty hard. So you would have to condition somebody to deal with this in order to catch them with that last hit, and you're never going to get anything worthwhile. That's free afterward, but forward 2 is free when you get that knockdown. But again, no one is going to fall for this. Not very often. I guess it's possible if you're just doing 1-2 jabs and they start trying to counter poke you, that on counter hit will get it to you. But again, good luck. You know what I mean? You're taking a big risk for very, very little reward. You're better off to do 1-2 into wind roll stuff. Go for things like that. It's going to take an attentive opponent to shut down wind roll, knowing they have to, you know, if they don't have that 12 frame mid, they have to take a shot at it. So you're much better off to just go for this and, you know, annoy them with that mix up. Her 2 jab looks pretty normal, but as we talked about in punishment, 2 back does this. 2 back, 1 + 2. 30 damage plus 3 back turned. That's a really, really good 10 frame punisher. You could just do this and then have their back if you wanted to, but I don't know, you might as well take the damage and then see what you get. Her 3 kick is nothing special, just a high that knocks you down. Very negative though. I mean, minus 14 on block. It's not very often anyone's ever going to punish a single kick like that, but it feels slow and clunky, like it is bad. So, it's whatever. You're much better off with her 4 kick. She is an 11 frame magic 4 with follow-ups. You've probably seen this over the years between Chang's and Wang Jinrei. All the variations of this thing. The low-mid mix-up, the low-low, stuff like that. She has them all. So basically 4-4-4 goes high-low-high. 4-4 down 4 goes high-low-low. And then 4-4-1 goes high-low-mid into a launcher. If they get counter hit by that low, the launcher will hit them for sure. Otherwise, they can block it. So if you think they're going to block it, you have 4-4-1-2. She cancels that mid and goes into that palm strike we talked about. You're going to see that a lot. That's a nice way to just turn anything safe. If you wanted to go for that mid launch, you think they're going to bite and they didn't, you can cancel into that too. Really, really messes with the opponent's reaction timing. So anything she has with that uppercut, you can cancel into that too. This is one of them. So that's the sequence that starts with 4. It is a magic 4, so if you do catch that counter hit, you do get your combo. It's not the hardest magic 4, but it's not the easiest either. But if you find that you did get that counter hit and you went on to the mix-up stuff, it's just like, oh man, you missed out on an opportunity. So use it sparingly. You know what situations you want to fish for that counter hit, and you know what situations you want to go pressure with the mix-up in. So if you're expecting that counter hit, don't do the follow-ups. That's all I can really say at that point. So there's plenty of choices there. High-low-high, high-low-low, and then high-low-mid, 1 launcher, 1 safe. The last thing she has out of basic buttons is 4-2. Looks like that. 4-2, real fast. This is called War Drums. And there's a follow-up 1. It looks like this. This move is a 15 frame startup, which is pretty fast. Notice it says high and low together. It's a completely simultaneous hit. High plus low. So that's not bad for a low to hit you at 15 frames. But that knockdown and that damage is not free. It can get blocked. There is a trick to it, however. There's 2 ways that you can easily react to standing guard. That will get you it for free. But you notice how it's hitting simultaneously, right? If I'm at just the right distance, where that hits by itself, natural combo. It works all on its own. If you can see the low hits and nothing else, like that, that's a natural combo. They will not be able to block that. But if the both first two hits connect together, they will be able to block it. You notice it was less damage because of that, but whatever. If you're at that distance, see, they block the mid. There it is. And you have all day, you have plenty of time to do it. I'm going to set them on guard all just to show you how long that delay actually is. So you can really get away with murder here. Not quite. Pad, not my forte again. But anyway, that's the one. If you can recognize the low connecting by itself, you should be able to see it, get that right distance, and then follow up. Once you see the low impact sphere alone, then you can follow up. The other one is counter hit. You should be able to see the extra glow like that, and then follow up with it. When you see the hit spark from both hits connect as a counter hit, you got plenty of time to follow up there. So this is a high risk move if you don't know how to do that. If you do know how to do it, you're going to get away with murder. So I can't get that distance quite right. But if they block it, boom, they're going to hop kick your ass. So be sure about that. Learn how to do war drums 4 to 2, and then confirm either the single low hit or the counter hit on both. And in that case, you get the one for free. Problem solved. Some of her other basic buttons are the 1+2. This kind of looks like the one you used to hit in the back, but it's not. It's a different version of it. She has 1+2, 4. Now, there's 2 different follow-ups after this. I'm not quite sure what their functionality is these days. It feels just like an old legacy move they put in there. 1+2, 4. And then another 4 does this, which is new. Don't know what it's for. It only connects on counter hit if they press a button, and it's -20. A lot of the cast that can reach you there can hit you pretty hard. The other option is 1+2, 4. Back forward 1+2. That's a lot of inputs. Does this. Let me just show it to you in the move list. There. Buffalo charge. This is the backflip one. This is the palm strike. Neither one of them is natural combo. They're both mid. The Buffalo Strike, this is only -10 on block, which isn't, I guess, bad or whatever. But they can even blow you up for doing it. They can interrupt that third hit with like 11 or 12 frames or something like that. So if you see Julia's doing this, they can jab you out of that third hit if that's what you're going for. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to be for in this day and age. Seemed like it had better uses back in, you know, older Tekken games like 2 or even 3 that didn't have quite the variety of moves. So it does exist, 1+2, 4, and its options. It would make a nice wall combo, but I think it's outclassed even these days by other stuff. The other basic input she has is 1+4. Looks like this. It's a mid-low, it's natural combo, but they can block the bejesus out of that low if they catch it. It's not that fast. They're going to see this and block that low all day, so you're going to be in trouble. The trick is you press down to cancel. You can catch the mid and then hold down, cancel the low altogether, make them hesitate for a second, and then go for that mid mix-up or go low anyway with the bow and arrow kick. That's going to make people insane once you get used to that. Also, if they get counter hit by the second hit alone, you get a combo. So that's a really good move all around. It's an 18-frame startup, which is, you know, decent enough. It's got super good range. Look how far away I am. And here. That reaches really far. And again, you do not want to get that low blocked. So can you read it and determine that it got blocked? Probably. There's enough time for you to press down and cancel it. And even if you did get the hit, don't worry about it. Go ahead and cancel it every time if you want to. There's nothing wrong with canceling that every time and then going for the mix-up there. Not a big deal. Because say if you do that, if you cancel and go into bow and arrow kick, the consequences are the same as if they had blocked the low in the first place. So you can go ahead and cancel and then go mid and, you know, force the mix-up that way. Rather than taking the risk of them just blocking that low and you get nothing, cancel that low and mix them up. Really good move all around. You wouldn't think like it's that big a deal, but the fact it's natural combo, it's always cancelable. It's really good stuff. We talked about forward 2-1 in her stances. Forward 2-1-2 is this whole string like that. Not a bad string necessarily. It's high, high, mid, but that third hit is not natural. It's only -10. They can block that and punish you. Not the worst. What this really does is forward 2-1-3 we talked about goes into swift step. That's what really ties this all together, is that swift step cancel. You can go right into the lunge punch. You can go into the low, whatever it might be. So the only thing that's different about just using this to go into stance is if they go into that stance and they try to continually jab you out of it or whatever they might do, if you do forward 2-1-2, that third hit on counter hit will launch them. That's kind of hard to get away from that. They can counter hit launch you. So if an opponent gets too aggressive and they press a button right before that one, they'll pay the price. So the first time they try to jab you out of your swift step mix-up, you switch back to doing this counter hit launcher. Otherwise, forward 2-1-3 gives you all the same things that you get out of swift step. The low and the mid are both counter hit launchers on their own. And then canceling the lunge punch is a safe high. Nothing lost, nothing gained, really. So forward 2-1 is that. Counter hit launcher extension or swift step that's full of counter hit launchers. Forward 2-4 is this. We looked at as her 12 frame punish. Pretty good move all around. It's a nice frame advantage on hit and it pushes him back. That's a nice little distance. So there's a distance a lot of characters really like. To be, at a nice mid pokey range. Forward 2-4 is a nice little thing to just use consistently. It's a natural combo. Safe on block. It's a nice little tool all around. Just to keep them from keying in on other stuff that you're going to do. If they're looking for your forward 2-1 stuff, switch it up with that, and that's going to mess with their timing. Forward 3, we talked about, is the swift step. So all that does is go into swift step on its own. Forward 4, however, has an extension. Forward 4-1, this is one of her best moves in my opinion. This has a really super good range on it. As good a range as that 1+4. Maybe not quite as good, but good. But forward 4-1 is hit confirmable. Natural combo, 36 damage in the knockdown. It's not the easiest hit confirm, but it's pretty easy. You'll get used to it. You do not want to get it blocked. -14 is pretty bad. This is one of those things that's really recognizable. They're not going to hesitate. A move like this is hard to punish because it's so fast and it's over so quickly. You didn't realize it happened. This, they have all day to get their punish game ready for that 14. So you definitely want to hit confirm that. It's not too hard to do. You have a pretty good idea when you're using it that they're going to fall for it, so just be ready to let it rip. Forward 4-1, very good. Forward 1+2, she's got a shoulder that is an armored wall bounce. This is the only power crush move that she has, and it's a wall bouncer. This isn't too bad a move all around. -14 is bad, but for what you get, I guess it's not the worst thing. I don't know, it's hard to say. It's considering it's your only power crush, I guess you gotta live with it, right? And if you do use it, closer to the wall, you do get rewarded for it. Not too bad. Not the best power crush, definitely not the worst. This character you'll find has kind of a limited set of basics. The power crush, the homing moves, stuff like that. Hers aren't very good. She relies on the unorthodox. The moves that are just very, very different and keep you thinking in a different manner. That's what she relies on. So as far as basic power crush, not very good. It's not bad. It's just a lot of characters have better ones. A lot of characters have a high option that's safe or whatever. She doesn't. That's the one thing that she has, but she's not meant to play that game. She's meant to play a wild game that's all her own. Moves on down forward inputs. Down forward 1. How wild is that move? Right? Down forward 1s usually look like this. But this, I can't even separate it. What I'm doing is this is down forward. This move that we call shotgun. Let me just show you on the actual move list to differentiate. There's down forward 1. This is that slap. That's down forward 1. The move that I keep getting by accident is this. I don't know when it used to be called shotgun. That's just what we call it. Down, down, forward one is that mid strike. This is a better move. I mean, that's the one you're going to use all the time. But that is her basic down, forward one. It's 14 frame and it's mid and it's safe, so I guess it fills the role of most characters down, forward one, but that's odd. It breaks the floor. I don't know. It's a weird move. It just seems like this could have just been down, forward one and been the end of it, you know? But they had to find some way to make this character weird, and that's what they did. So down, forward one, kind of useless. Down, forward 2-1 is her big skyward launcher. You get a clean sidestep and boom. That thing hurts. Down, forward 2-3 is the same initial hit that goes into swift step. Same options as before. You can either go for the mid-low mix-up, but in this case, if you cancel swift step into lunge punch, it's natural combo. Down, forward 2-3-1 is natural. If you did connect the first hit and didn't go for the launch, you would regret it, but whatever. If you were just doing this to throw it out as a poking tool, you could, which lets you use this down, forward 2 in your neutral arsenal, because you can do stuff like that with it, or mids that are safe. Natural combo, and then once they get, used to trying to freak out about that move, maybe once in a while you just start throwing that out for the hell of it. But even then, this is your bestest tick off as a whiff punisher with that move. Use this with stance options if you want to. Down, forward 2-4, she does that. Little high kick at the end of it too. Natural combo, safe, just to further mix that up. If they start trying to anticipate swift step or anticipate that, down, forward 2-4, another variation. So 3 or 4 or 5 different ways to come out of this little mid poke. Interesting stuff. Very interesting to try to look at a Julia player and think about what the hell they're going to do next. That's the game plan. You're never going to figure it out entirely. Down, forward 3. Whoops. Down, forward 3. 1+2 is this. This is our 13 frame punish. Natural combo. Knocks down. Unsafe on block. -13. But this is kind of like everyone else's. Everyone else that has a good mid like this, it's 13 frames to start up and 13 on block. So no complaints there, really. It's a pretty good overall move. Down, forward 4. This move is 14 on startup. Down, forward 4-2. Oh, really? I thought that was natural. I guess it's not. Go figure. I didn't know they could do that. Anyway, down, forward 4-2 has 3 different options. Down, forward 4-2-3, which is that safe high. Down, forward 4-2-1, which is that very unsafe elbow, -14. Or she can do down, forward 2, back, forward 1, which is a blue spark elbow, also -14. You might ask yourself why you would ever even bother doing that. The answer is more of a combo application and to use it at the wall. In neutral game, it's completely punishable. The only thing that's different is if you throw these two out and you see they got counter hit, if you're doing this and you saw they did something, let the whole thing rip. You'll get it all for like 56 damage or something like that. 56. So you can do this all day. This isn't really a problem. I honestly thought this was a natural combo, though, to be honest. Apparently it's not. So if you're doing that and you saw them flinch, let it rip with that, or this. You can do both. They'll all connect, get a ton of damage, and carry to the wall. The only real reason the blue spark exists is for wall combos, to be honest. It doesn't make it safe. The perfect version of it gets the max damage at the wall. That's all it's really for. Down, forward 4-2 is this. So just get used to that, or just one. Just use that as your poke. Then every so often go for this, and if you see the flinch, let them have it. Down, forward 3+4. This weird ass little string. Special mid to mid. So technically, it's a mid. You can block it standing, but it can get low parried. It gets beaten by Lei's crane stance or Anna's chaos judgment. Follows duck jab rules because it's a special mid. But this is safe. I mean, it hits twice, does 30 damage. It's a weird little number. Its best application is for catching stun pickups, or like that. Works really well to pick up weird stuns that you couldn't figure out how to do normally. That's interesting. The fact that it's a safe mid string, you can't really complain about it. It's just weird. It's kind of hard to find a good place to stick that move in. Like, oh yeah, I haven't done this in a while, I'll just do it. That's about it. Keep them guessing, whatever it might be. Moves with down inputs. Down 2-3 is this. Another weird little situation. Another special mid, because this is a duck jab. Kings have this. They have down 1-4. The opposite buttons, it's the same thing. A duck jab into a while standing. Not natural combo and not safe on block either. So I really don't know what you would do this for. No, it's hard to say. It's fast. I mean, it works as a duck jab, but you don't get the follow-up. So, I don't know. Doesn't seem all that practical. Down 3 is this little standing low poke. 13 frame startup. Pretty good. That's the most universal low poke you're going to get. Because you'll notice this character doesn't have a generic down 4 unless she's already crouching. She has a down back, a down, and a down forward 4. They're all different things. So down back 3, I guess, is fairly generic. But down 3 is a standing low poke. This is the one you're probably going to use most often. Just in like a little harassing pressure. That low is the one you're going to rely on. Because there's not a better one, to be honest. There's not great low pokes. That's pretty slow. That's kind of slow. This one, back 3, that's on the border of being able to be reacted. People can probably see that and block it on reaction after a while, so you can't count on that all day. This is the one you need to keep breaking their rhythm. Down 3 is pretty much your best bet. Down back 4 is not bad either, but we'll come back to that in a minute. Down 4 we talked about earlier as part of the 4-4-4 sequence. Down 4 is on the slower side. But you're pretty much going to hit people with this for free, and you have the same follow-ups. Down 4-4 goes low, down 4-1 goes mid launcher, and down 4-1-2 goes safe mid. Same results, same frame data and everything as the normal version of it. You just start with the low instead. So you can do that stuff all day. Get it with a free low poke and then go for that mid. Mess with their timing. And if you get the counter hit on the first low, this is free. That will launch them. But you're only taking the risk of a minus 14. It's not good. It's not a great risk, but it's there. But you do have that option. If you realize it's not there, cancel it into that, and you're good. That's the thing that a lot of characters wish they could do, is they want to go for that 2-hit counter hit, and they don't have a way out once they've done it. She does. Pretty interesting. The last thing is down 1+2, which is this little double hammer strike. Not safe on block, but pushes back pretty well. Yeah, not a lot. Not as much as it used to, it seems like. I felt like that used to push back a lot more than that. So this is minus 14. I don't know how practical that is either, to be honest. For a mid that knocks you down, I don't know. I mean, that's faster and it's less punishable on block. This used to be good for follow-ups. If you hit him with this, do that. And there's better options than that now. So this might be another one of those legacy moves that's just there because that's a signature Chang move. It's okay, but there are definitely moves that are better than that now, even in combo applications. Let's move on to down backs. Not a lot here. Down back 1 is this little guy, this little sideways mid chop. This is a counter hit launcher. A little hard to pick up sometimes. But this is minus 12. Not the best in the world. It does have that little underneath jab startup. It will crush eyes pretty well. So it does do that, but be warned, it's not completely safe. If you want to fish for counter hits, we'll get to a better one in just a second. So that's down back 1. Down back 2-1 is this. I don't know what the hell this is for. I have no earthly idea. It's not a natural combo. The computer's set to guard all is why they're doing that. If they're not, they get hit by that low. It's definitely not natural, but if they don't block it, they get hit by the low, which is minus 4 on hit. It puts you at a serious disadvantage. I don't know why you would want this. Even on counter hit, you don't get a knockdown. You don't get anything. Counter hit, proper, nothing. Nothing changes this. Unless, like, maybe if they crouch, something happens, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I went over that. See? It just stands them back up. Minus 4 on hit. You're giving away your turn for 20 damage. Less than 20 damage. Completely useless. I don't see what that is for. Maybe there's something I haven't thought about yet. But the other down back move is down back 4-1. This little guy. Not a natural combo. You need the counter hit for that to knock down. But even if you don't, that little palm strike is only minus 10. That's not too bad. They shouldn't be able to avoid all your options like that. Forward, forward 3 or forward, forward 2. You're going to catch them with something. If they roll sideways, you can use this thing, stuff like that. Not all those situations give you a free follow-up. Some do, some don't. So they can try to stand up quick or roll sideways or whatever. You got plenty of things to try to chase them down. You know, run up and hit them with a low. If they roll sideways to get away from this, then, you know, start doing this or start doing this. Keep them honest. Figure out what it is that they want to do and then run up and do whatever beats that. So down back 4-1 is kind of decent, to be honest. It's a nice little chunk of damage in the knockdown for only risking -10 for a quick little interrupting low. This low is 15 startup. So between this, 13 frame startup is decent. This is 14 frame startup and you get counter hit stuff. That's kind of cool. That makes up for having the lack of generic low stuff. She's got interesting low stuff with applications. That's kind of what I think this character is like. She doesn't have basic ass stuff. She has stuff that's beyond that, but does what it's supposed to do. Makes you think about it differently and makes your opponent think in a completely different way than they would against a more conventional character. On to back inputs. We mentioned if you wanted to fish for counter hits a second ago, this is what you would rather be doing. This is a mid that's safe on block. You get the juggle that way. That's pretty much the best one in my opinion. It's maybe not the fastest in the game, but at 18, it's not too bad. This is 19. This is a frame slower, but it has the high crush. So those, I guess you could use them both. If you expect your opponent to try to counter jab you at all times, that'll beat jabs. And if not, if you think they're just going to, you know, try to run up and do something, you can jam them up with this. Or if they want to wake up, you know, if you have them trapped at the wall and you think they might get up kick, boom. Back one, it's pretty good counter hit launcher. I think it's one of her better moves, to be honest. A safe mid that counter hit launches is pretty good in my book. Back 2, 3, 1+2. Weird move again. Not sure why this was necessarily added. Not natural in this case. Of all the weird knee lift attacks that follow up with that shoulder, this one is not natural. So I'm not quite sure what you get there, even if it's the second hit alone. Counter hit, you get it. So it does damage, but I don't know, I guess if you're just doing this and annoying them and doing this stuff that looks different, that has these weird like knee lift stances, and they're not sure what to do, I don't know. Not a move with a great application in my book. Just one of those things you never see, so it might catch people pressing buttons if they don't know it's there. Hard to say. Back 3-4. Double low attack like this. Probably never going to hit anybody in the history of ever. That second low is completely safe on block. It's only -8, but it's easy enough to low parry. I mean, they're going to just block you anyway. There's nothing to really gain from it. You're better off to just do a back 3 and stop because you retain the crouching stance. They can see a mile away that you're doing that and just blocking it. So you're better off to forget that even exists at all. Just do a single back 3 and then use your crouch stance to mix them up. Go for that mid launcher. Go for the low again with bow and arrow kick, etc. Back 3 if you catch the first counter hit. You can get a combo from. So that's interesting enough. But as far as you not getting the counter hit, you're better off to just do that and then either do nothing or go for a different mix-up. Go for the bow and arrow kick that annoys people. Because the interesting thing is if they're looking for the second hit right there, if you do this and hesitate for a second, bow and arrow kick is going to catch them. They're going to think, okay, she didn't do that second low that I was geared up for. Let me just go about my business. Oh shit, bow and arrow kick. You know, that little bit of delay, like the delay on those. That's enough to mess with people. So do this, and if you want to go low, you can, or just do this and mid, etc., etc. That's back 3-4, but back 3 is all you ever really want to use. Back 4 now is pretty much her only homing move. Back 4 is a high attack. It's 18 frame startup. It's +1 on block. One of the few things she has is plus on block, period. So that's a pretty good all-around move. Plus homing damage. That's not bad. You can pick this up with a combo. It's just very hard to do. That's exactly how you would do it right there, to be honest. You dash up and you do this down forward 3+4 that we talked about. I probably won't ever get it again. It's hard to do. You can see it's even connecting there and not lifting them. I got greedy. But anyway, that does work. It's possible to do, but what I found a lot more reliable is this. That's all free damage. They can't get away from that. Unless you catch them at like just a tip, and then you miss with that jump. But if you're in any decent range, up, forward 3, plus 4, forward, forward 3. All that is free. It doesn't say combo, but that's the good part, is because technically they are able to get up and move, but they're not able to avoid getting hit. So what is that? 20 for this. 24. And then how much? Damn it. 16. So that's 60 damage by just doing the easy mode. Again, pad not my forte. But a back 4, up, forward 3, plus 4, forward, forward 3. That's all going to be guaranteed if you do it quickly enough. So that's 60 damage, and it's easy mode. I would personally rather stick with that than trying to fish for how to do the hard-ass combo, which I can never do well. Try to micro dash and then catch them with this, it's hard. I'd rather stick with an easier combo for what's nearly the same damage you would get as your full combo anyway, to be honest. 60 is pretty damn good. Off a move is plus on block and homing. So that being her only homing move is a pretty decent one. And you're welcome to do other shit like that. You know, make them wake up in a different way. Keep them guessing with how you want to do it. But you can get more. And then even then you get more, they're still getting up in a weird way for them. You're going to hit them in the back of the head with that. That's the interesting part. Like that. They're still getting up backwards, and you have plenty of time to dash in with whatever follow-up you want to. Very interesting move. The final back input she has is back 1 plus 2. This old thing. Still launches, just as good as new. Dash up and do that move. You got options. Whatever you feel comfortable doing. Not safe on block. But only 13. It's not too bad. It's got good range. Pretty good range. Just feels rewarding to hit with. Pretty good damage for a single hit launcher. Not too bad. It's one of those things you just keep it out there because they might not have seen it for a while. They're not used to your ability to do that from a certain distance. You know, you're kind of just out here doing your thing, and then they run right into that. That's what it's for. You should have time to run up and dash or party crasher or whatever you want. So back 1 plus 2 is an interesting move. One of those legacy moves they made sure they included. It's not the best move, but it's still pretty good. It still has a job to do. Some of her other inputs, she has a couple moves out of up. She has up forward 1, which is this little guy. This is a safe mid. It's a 15 frame move. Doesn't look like it's too much, but a counter hit, you do get that. You just do a deep party crasher and it hits them. So that counter hit, they cannot tech that, as far as I'm aware. It looks like this is the nosebleed that if you hold down, you'll just fall to the ground, avoiding further damage. This counter hit, they cannot. As far as I know, that is free. So that's another safe mid counter hit launcher that's fast. It's a pretty good move. Up forward 1 is pretty good. Up forward 4-3 is her hop kick. Up forward 4-3-1, there's a follow-up. Keep you safe. Like that. If you want to try to punish your hop kicks, they do that. The hop kicks used to be way more punishable. In the last game, they were at least minus 16 or 17. So if opponent was going to try to hop kick you back, if you did this, it would stuff their hop kick. They wouldn't be able to do it in time. But all they had to do was stick to like an 11 or 12 frame punisher, and it beat you out anyway. So that's kind of where you are now. The hop kicks are only minus 13 on their own. And so just stick to like a 12 frame punish and you beat them out. You really don't ever want to do this one because you'll miss out on your combo. The only reason you would ever do it before was to mitigate the opponent trying to punish you. Now it's not that big a deal. I will say that as of right now, there is an option select that makes this safe. If you delay the 3 just right, like that. I don't know if you can even hear my buttons. See, you can hear it. I'm pressing it, but it's not. Sometimes it's not coming out. If you get that just right, where it's not coming out, that first hop kick is safe. If you just do the 1, up forward 4 is completely safe. But if you can hear, I'm delaying that 3 just right. It's not coming out, which means I'm still safe, correct? But if they stop blocking, it does come out just the right time. I still get the combo. So once you learn that specific timing of up forward 4, 3, you get a hop kick launcher that's safe on block because of this weird little delay ability. So let me mention that it does exist. That's the kind of thing that gets patched out pronto, because I feel like that's unintended. That's just the nature of like I said, this used to be way more punishable. Up forward 4-3 used to be way worse on block. When they mess with that, it seems like they also mess with its overall timing. So there's no way that delay ability was intentional. So you basically have a hop kick that's safe on block. They're going to fix that. But for right now, it does exist. I'll put it in the description notes the day that it does get patched, because it will. But for right now, if you learn how to do up forward 4-3 and delay it just right, you have a safe hop kick. So moving on, her other up forward input is 3+4, which we talked about earlier, is that stomp. Weird move. I don't know how often you're going to hit people with it. I guess you could use it after like certain screw attacks, maybe. You definitely can, but like there's not too many good options. I suppose if you caught the wall just right, it's a good option to break the floor. I don't know. But you're going to do that more often than not. You're going to jump over them, land backwards, and get nothing out of it. But that's your last up forward move. Up forward 3+4. It's fun. It's a good move to hit people with. It's just not practical. Forward. She's got a few inputs here. Now we've arrived at Party Crasher. Forward, 1-4. This is a natural combo. You can kind of hit confirm it. It's tough, but you kind of had to know you were going to hit it. Let's say that. It's a I already knew I got you confirm rather than a visual hit confirm. But it does exist. There is no other option, technically. They're going to duck if you do that second hit a lot. But this move is so fast. It's so annoying. Technically, it's an 11 frame mid. If you can do this fast enough, it's 11 frames. Like out in the open, it's going to be 13 because you have to do the forward. But on block, you can buffer that forward and get it at 11. Either way, an 11 to 13 frame mid like this, that's -2 on block and like +4 on hit. Like what the hell? That's super good. Every time she catches you with one of these, makes her +4. She gets whatever she wants. You know, continued offense out of any possible angle, whatever she feels like doing, she can get away with. Or just do it again. Do it again and mix it up with shotguns. I mean, that's just an annoying rhythm and sequence. Take you forever to get used to doing all of that. So forward 1, the Party Crasher is a really good move. This version screw attacks again, or wall splats now. They've changed that several times over the years. Sometimes it would stick to the wall, sometimes it wouldn't. This one does. It is a screw attack on its own, and it also wall splats. Forward 2 is this knockdown. And you get, if they move afterward, you get free follow-ups. Forward 3, or even your while standing 3 kicks them as soon as they try to get up. If they do nothing, they're okay. And I mean, that's going to miss them if they do nothing. But if they do nothing, that'll hit them. So you have that series again where not necessarily everything is guaranteed, but if they get up different ways, you have different ways to keep them on the ground. You're in a crouching position still. You recover crouched yourself. So you can do that too. You can do that elbow in the head. You have options there. Once you catch them with this cool, weird face-first knockdown, there's plenty of things you can do. But if you didn't catch them, this is -14. Same with the next one, forward 3. This is -14. But I mentioned earlier, this is really hard to punish just because it's here and gone so fast. By the time you recognize what it was you just blocked, it feels like it's already over. There's like no startup and no recovery on this move. But -14 it is. So be aware that it can get punished. But it's worth going for when you get that 47 damage in the wall carry. You used to get that as your basic combo, the down 1+2. But in this game, you have instant running 2-1. Works now. Does more damage and wall carries. If you're used to it, you can just do this. There's nothing wrong with it. It's only a couple more damage. But there are better options now. You can actually still do that. It's less damage, etc., but it breaks the floor, whatever. All of these cool knockdowns that she gets, she has lots of interesting options. Some guaranteed, some not. But if they're not guaranteed, you get plenty of cool mix-up things to try to throw at them. If they do the wrong thing. If they stay on the ground, you have this. If they roll to the side, you have that, etc. The last forward move is forward 1+2. If you recognize that sound effect, makes it sound like it is a wall bounce. Which it is. A 13 frame mid safe wall bounce. That's pretty good. That's better than having to use her power crush. Her power crush is very unsafe. This is way better. Very fast, too. That's a super fast move. Technically, it's 13 if you can buffer it in a block stun. Like, you can punish in 13 with that. According to the data, you'd have to be, like I said, in the punishment chapter, you'd have to be a huge nerd to be able to do that, but it does exist. Forward, 1+2. Very good move. What else does she have? She's got... that brings us to shotgun. Down, forward. Not an input you see very often in this game. Lee's blazing kick is the first thing that comes to mind. Down, back 4. The kick that looks like this. That one kick that Lee has, it kind of just looks like that. Same input. Down to down, forward. And let's take a look at it in the move list again, just to be sure. Down, forward, and hold it right there. If you let go, you're going to get it while standing, like that. So you have to hit down, forward, and then the 1. If you let go, you'll see what happens. If you just get this, that means you just hit down, forward. You didn't catch the down part in the beginning. So that's going to take a lot of getting used to, because you need to use this in combos a lot. And I mean a lot. You better learn how to do that input one way or another if you're going to play Julia. Get used to it now. It does have an extension. 1-2, not a natural combo though. -14 on block, requires a counter hit. But what really makes this move effective, other than its good ass range and being like a 13 frame mid, is this goes into wind roll. So you can wind roll cancel and do that stuff from there. Again, if it hits, if you hit with this and go to wind roll, some of your options are unbeatable. But primarily, this is just used to maintain the pressure with Party Crasher, the elbow, and that. The constant litany of moves coming at you, and options, cancels, and jabs, blah, 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 blah. This is a great tool that fits into it. Very fast. Mix-ups afterward. Extensions if you get antsy with pressing buttons. Looks a lot like this. It's just super annoying to have to deal with the pressure from this character. And shotgun into wind roll is a big reason why. That's the only move she has is like that. There is no other option. People tell me you used to be able to do quarter circle 1 and get this move. I don't believe them. I swear I would have tried that when I first learned to play Julia. Never successful. I had to learn how to do down, forward, as it's written here. So that's what I learned to do. I never learned to try to quarter circle it. But there is a quarter circle 2, if you look at the next option, which is that. This is a safe high launcher. Quarter circle 2, high crushes, big high class launcher. What you see a lot of people do, especially like the early days of fighting against Julia, is this Party Crasher into that. Because this is like +4 on hit. This is going to crush jabs entirely if you just do that. You know, if they're getting pressured by Party Crasher over and over and they want to try to counter jab you, that just beats those jabs clean and launches them. It even seemed like it's some day 1 tech, but it's still valid. A Party Crasher and then that. Really good launcher. Quarter circle 2. So the only other standing moves she has are the running moves. Running 1 and running 2-1. Right there in order. While running 2-1 is hit confirmable. Oops. Like that. -13. I think the first hit is also -13, but the reason why, you know, you want to stop right there, because if you give them plenty of time to realize both hits are coming, they're going to punish the hell out of that second hit. They might hesitate to punish the first hit, that's all. So running 1 is a high that's +4, and guarantees... Again, pad not my forte. Guarantees a running 2-1. Which flips him back up in the air. 54 damage into potential to wall splat. That's pretty good. So she has 2 moves out of running, which are very, very good. So all that leaves is crouching stuff. Nothing crazy here, while standing moves are good. 4 is a knockdown. 3 is a homing move, one of the only other homing moves that she has. 1 is a launcher, 15 frames. Pretty basic there. 2 is interesting. While standing 2-1 is that. Natural combo, mid, high, knockdown. You get that same situation of follow-up options. If they stay on the ground, you hit them. So that's 2-1. She can also do 2-2-1+2. Like that. Let me show you these in the move list, just so you can see them all next to each other. Oops. Right there. Tequila Sunrise back fist. That's the high. It's a screw attack, but you're never going to see that happen. 2-2 and then 2-2 elbows. I believe this is a natural combo. But if you delay it in like the slightest way, it's kind of hard to get out. See, there it is. 2-2 connects. It is a natural combo, but somehow I get that a lot. If you delay it or mash it or whatever, you get blocked. I'm not sure what the deal is there. It might just be a very precise timing thing. But either way, for 18 frames, that's not bad. It's only 44 damage. At 15, you're getting a whole launch. So that's kind of one of those legacy moves that has a cool name. It's called Tequila Sunrise. Not super good anymore because it's minus 15 or 16 like the whole way through. You're going to get nailed for doing it. This is a better option because it has a knockdown. But the best option, wind roll. You do while standing 2 into wind roll, which also includes another low option. That's really where you're going to use more than anything off of while standing 2. Unless you get like a clean duck that you're ready to launch, you can just do something like this, or a move that leaves you in your full crouch, and then use that to get out of full crouch. One of the many tools that you have. Bow and arrow kick and elbow are the last two. Full crouch down forward 2, and full crouch down forward 4-3. A low and a mid. Knockdown, damage, annoying as hell. And the complement is while standing 2 into wind roll for another layer of mix-up. That's it. That's pretty much her whole move list. Oh, she has sidestep. She has a sidestep too. Also leaves her in crouch, if you notice. Interesting little move. Safe mid. Leaves her crouched. So boom, bow and arrow kick. Sidestep 3 knocks down. Not bad. Nice range. And I feel it's fitting this is the last move we cover. Sidestep 3 plus 4. Look at that annoying ass thing. That's going to just destroy everything that you do. It's a sidestep. It's going to beat highs and lows and shit, probably too. That move is just going to wreck you if you're not prepared for it. That's one of those really annoying looking things they always get away with. Sidestep 3 plus 4. That's a very Julia move to have. You know, it's just very unusual. You don't see a lot of backflip kicks like that. The combo follows up, feels weird. But that's a pretty Julia move. Very unsafe, obviously. She takes forever to land, but that's fairly far away. It's worth it. That's a pretty Julia thing to have. So that's her whole move list. It's mostly basic stuff that are expounded upon with some weird ass stuff. Lots of odd extensions, lots of weird inputs, lots of unorthodox properties and follow-ups. But that's how this character works. Not easy. She's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. Not in terms of game plan, not in terms of execution. Once you feel comfortable with the shit that she has that's very uncomfortable, you're golden. Because I can promise your opponent is never going to be comfortable with all the things that Julia can throw at them. I want to take a minute to just recap what I think Julia's top moves are, in my opinion. Top 10 is not enough for a good Tekken character. There's so many more things that just kind of tie the whole room together. So I just want to go over the ones that I chose for various situations that I think are her best moves. In terms of poking and pressure, two of Julia's best moves to start off with are forward 4-1. This is a good keep out poking tool because it has supremely good range and is hit confirmable. You can even see the visible delay in it in most cases. Knocks down wall splat and all that. That's a really good move for keep out. A really good move for drawing opponents in is back 4. If they're coming at you, this is a nice move to kind of just shut all that down. It's relatively fast, it's plus on block, and it's homing, even though it's a high. This is a move that's pretty good that, you know, they're kind of counter poking and spacing you out, and they're ready to come in, catching them with that. Doesn't have to be a counter hit, that's natural hit. So I think this is a good keep out. I think this is a good come at me. Forward 4 and back 4. The bulk of Julia's up-close pressure game comes from party crashers and shotguns. Party crasher is super, super good. 11, 12, 13 frame mid. It's only -2 on block and it's +4 on hit. That's just so good. You can do whatever you want. The fact that the 4 exists, they have to respect that and be ready to duck it. If you're not ready to duck that as a Julia player, she's going to get away with these all day. It's one more mix-up tool in her arsenal. But the fact that she knows you want to duck that makes you hesitate every time a party crasher comes in. So party crasher is super good, lets you just set up whatever else that you want. Not to mention shotgun looks so similar in speed and delivery and everything, and then has the wind roll stuff after it. You can just do so much with just those two moves alone. They really set everything else apart. Shotgun, down, down, forward 1, and party crasher. Forward, forward 1, and its extension is 4. For further away, she has running 1, and then running 2-1 is guaranteed off of that. That gets you a little bit more wall distance. That's a lot of damage for when you kind of poke them out of that range and you end up way back here. A quick surprise, running 1 works wonders. When you're just outside of that range of party crasher, you know, this move is too far, this move is too far, this move is too far. When you're way back here, running 1 works really well. That's a great move. That's plus on block. Running 2-1 is mid for when they decide to start ducking that. You also have a regular running 3, which works for that as well. But running 2-1 is hit confirmable as well. Pretty useful. They're rarely going to punish that 2 because they have to wait for the 1. It's one of those sort of mini mix-up things. And the other good tool that I think in the neutral game, as far as evasion goes, one of her best is Sidestep 2. Didn't really cover this a lot otherwise. Sidestep 2 is really good. On counter hit, you get that little weird knockdown that they just tech roll out of or whatever, but you get a nice advantage. The cool thing about this move is you sidestep and you crush highs and you remain in a crouching position. So you get a full crouch mix up, bow and arrow kicks, elbows, etc. So that's a really good move when you're trying to evade their counter poke. Sidestep 2. Sidestep 3 plus 4 also works well to launch them. You're just taking a bigger risk in doing so. That move works. It's a perfectly good move. But you really want to kind of style on them when it comes to that sort of thing. If you're better off to just sidestep and hit him with that, or sidestep and hop kick. Sidestep and this can work some miracles if, you know, a weird tracking move might catch you. This move is really evasive. That's what it's good for. If you think they're going to continue to mash at you, this has a better chance of evading stuff than just sidestep hop kick. But you're taking a risk in order to gain that flexibility. The honorable mention as far as evading counter poke, I think, is down back 1. This will counter hit launch some, and it's pretty good at crushing those jabs. If you see that every time you try to attack them, they try to jab you out of it, start using this. That'll go under those highs and counter hit them for it. But this is unsafe on block, is the only reason why it's not one of the best moves. Counter hits, if you want to just fish for straight up counter hits when they try to come back at you, Magic 4 is 11 frames. That works really well. And the only reason down back 1 isn't good is because it's not safe on block. Back 1 is safe on block, so I give that much better credit. Safe on block, mid, counter hit launcher, full combo, etc. The other counter hits worth mentioning to me are down forward 4-2. I did not know until today that this isn't a natural combo. I kind of always thought it was. But it doesn't change my opinion of it. Just throwing this out, the opponent's going to wait for one of the other 2 options or not. Very rarely are they going to punish this. And as soon as they do punish it, just do that. Do the safe high. It'll really, really discourage them from punishing. I don't even know if it's safe or not. Like I said, I never saw it got blocked. I don't care. What's interesting about this is the reason why I mention it is you have plenty of time during these first 2 hits to see, did they attack me? If they did attack you, let it rip. This counter hit does a grip of damage. 56. Or you could do the other, you could just do the 3 as well there. You got plenty of time to see during these 2 hits if you got the counter hit, and then let it rip. Don't delay this like you do at the wall. Just let it go and you get 56 damage. So I feel like that risk reward is heavily in Julia's favor. The fact that you get 56 if you're right, and if you're wrong, you get whatever punish that is, if it's even punishable. Doesn't matter. Like I said, I didn't even care. I use that a lot. You know, I'll do this a lot and catch people with that counter hit. It works wonders, especially if you get the wall from it. So those are her best counter hits, the Magic 4 and the back 1, combined with this little number that I kind of like. Low pokes. Down 3 is your standing low. Down back 3 for crouching lows. She doesn't have a generic down 4, but this thing is only 13 frames. That works pretty well. That's a solid ass move to have. 13 frames, it's only minus 12 on block itself. That's pretty good. What really shines is the bow and arrow, the big lows she has. That annoys the hell out of people all day long. All the moves that she has that result in a full crouch state, that's a huge risk. Plus the mix up that can come after it if they don't tech roll correctly or whatever. Same with back 3 and down 4. Those aren't as good in my opinion because they're both slow. 20 frames each, I believe, for the back 3, which launches on counter hit, and down 4, which has the mix-ups, the mid launcher, the mid delay, or the low. Those are good, they're just not great. So that's the only other low option she really has, though, to be honest, is that down 3 and the bow and arrow kick. She doesn't have a lot of good low poke. She goes for it all when she goes low. A couple other things you might want to just fish for are quarter circle forward 2. Because this beats jabs and it's a safe launcher, you can really just sort of throw this in anywhere. You'll see a lot of people party crasher and then do it because they're sick of the pressure from party crasher. They're going to try to jab you out of it or whatever, and that just blows up their jabs. That works really, really well. Just throwing that in, fishing for those random hits, that's a good one. The other one is you get closer to the wall, is that forward 1+2. That's a great move to just start throwing out and fish with it because it's a safe mid, gets you the wall. My final honorable mention for one of Julia's best moves is 1+4. This is a natural combo on hit, severely negative on block, like minus 25 or 26 or something like that if they block that low. So the problem with that is that if they do make the block and they have plenty of time to make that read, you get destroyed for it. The silver lining there is you can always cancel that low. Just press down and cancel it. You can make the read, did they block it, and then cancel. You don't always have to just cancel yes or no. You can let it rip if it hits and cancel on block. But in my opinion, what really works the best is cancel it no matter what and use that full crouch state. So if they see this move and they want to go block that low and launch you for it, right? That's what's in their head. Oh, here it comes. I got him. Don't give them that low. Stop it and then go low anyway. That little delay is enough to keep them from reacting correctly. It's a technique you see Asuka players do with Sacred Blade. Whether they do it on its own or out of that spinny lunge punch, they'll do the Sacred Blade and then cancel it. Because you have to get down low to block that move. You can't just not do that. So as soon as they cancel it, they're a little bit ahead of you mentally because they're acting and you're reacting. That's what works here. As soon as you cancel this, by the time they realize that low is not coming, you have already decided to do bow and arrow kick or whatever it is that you're going to do, and they won't react cleanly to it. Not to mention everything else you could do out of your full crouch game, go mid, tequila sunrise, etc. So that's my last honorable mention for one of Julia's top moves. It's actually a really good move all around. Look at the stupid range it has. 1, 2, 3. Not quite 3, about 2.5. Yeah, range 2 is no contest. It's got more range than this thing does by just a little bit. Really good move. The only problem is you do take a risk by going to a mix-up. Any mix-up comes with a risk. If they read you right, you know, you're going to take the blame for it. So that's the only problem with it, is all it does is a really good way to set up a mix-up, which can backfire. Other than that, I think those are Julia's best moves. If you learn to deal with those correctly, you'll go a long way to shutting this character down. So as far as dealing with Julia, the weaknesses in those things are relying on you to read her game plan, to realize she's going to do one of these and back out, do one of these and back out, or she does this and she always does another one. So you can try to get ahead of that by interrupting what she does. None of this stuff is plus on block. Really, the only thing she has is that. Like, this party crasher is -2, so technically you can go, but you have to go mid. Because this character is going to crush those jabs with this move or with the wind roll stuff. She's going to beat your jabs out. So you need to stick to the fastest mid you have, your 13 frame mids, or God willing, you have a 12. As we mentioned in the stance section, if you have a 12 frame mid, that blows up wind roll clean. Even the fastest move out of wind roll gets beaten by a 12 frame mid. The low gets beaten by a 12 frame mid. So if you have a 12 frame mid, you can kind of shut the door on all this pressure bull crap she does. You'll be able to stop her in her tracks. If you don't, it's a little bit harder, but you can still try to stuff her if she continues this offense. So that's your biggest key, is knowing that the Julia is going to use these tricky tools, that she just gets away with murder. Stop her before she does it again, because they're not real. She's relying on you to get paralyzed. What's she going to do? What's she going to do? Oh my God. And if you don't, you'll be okay. Some other things, when she does party crasher, if she decides to let that high rip once in a while, you still need to respect it and duck it. That's one of those things where a Julia player who's just going out there to party, feel like they can get away with murder. If they start doing that, you can't let them have that. You need to be ready to duck after every single party crasher expecting that high. And if you can see that high is not coming, then you stand back up and repeat again. But she's causing that mental hesitation. She's making you respect that high, which forces you to delay whatever thought you might have had next. That's this character. So if you disrespect that and try to get out in front of her, you'll do okay. Make sure you get punishes where you can. If she fails to hit confirm that correctly, it's minus 14. Blocking bow and arrow kicks is, I think, 16. Maybe 17. The whole cast can launch her, basically. You hop kick that ass, and she's going to think twice about doing it, but she's just going to go into other crazy-ass mix-ups. So make sure you get punishes where you get them. Don't let her get away with anything. Learn the punishment list in general, especially for these moves that we talked about in the 10 frame. This being 14, bow and arrow being 17. This elbow is 12. Forward stuff. These are all like 14. Make sure you get those. Don't let her get away with that stuff. Low parry when you see this coming. Low parry the second one, etc. Do not let her get away with mistakes. Because once you take away all of her mistakes, she will have to play smarter and tighter, and that doesn't sound like the Julia player. The Julia player in the wild wants to party, wants to do these really unorthodox set of moves and keep you from thinking straight. So if you can think straight, that's your best advantage. Take away mistakes, anticipate her, be proactive, but don't get reckless. That's, I think, the best anti-Julia advice that you can give. So take that and frame it around the moves that we talked about here. These are the moves you're going to see a lot. So get used to dealing with those, and the rest of it is just kind of icing on the cake. Take it or leave it. Learn how to deal with them or not. Focus on what's most important, and then think about the rest. Julia's launchers and combos are by far the best element of this character, and maybe some of the best in the game. She has fantastic wall carry, fantastic damage, and just an amazing army of things that can launch you start combos, both on natural hit and on counter hit. Let's take a look at just the list of basic launchers that she has. Down forward 2-1 is that super high launcher, as is quarter circle 2. You get a slightly better combo off of those, but those are about the only two that yield that. Her hop kick, up forward, 4-3. Back 1+2 is a natural launcher. All of the things that end in this uppercut. This while standing 1, 4-4-1, and down 4-1. All those uppercuts are natural launchers. You get the same combo from there. Any way you can arrive at that move, you get the combo from. Sidestep 3+4. This backflip is a natural launcher. It looks like it's that super high that the other ones are, but your recovery is not good enough to get a super huge combo from. She gets a launch by swift step up forward 3+4. Looks like basically the same kick, just a little bit different. That's a natural hit launcher. It's just not one that you're ever going to see. Swift step up forward 3+4. Kind of a weird one. And technically back 4 is a launcher. It's just very, very hard to do. You got a micro dash like that, and then wind roll stuff from there. You can do it, but there's a mini combo that I like way, way better. But technically, you can launch off a back 4 natural hit. Counter hit launchers there's just as many of them. Anytime that you could do this while standing 1 and get that uppercut on a natural hit, you can cancel that uppercut with a 2 and do a palm strike that's safe on block. All of those will launch on counter hit. Etc. So anything like that, 4-4-1, down 4-1, while standing 1, all those things, if you cancel them into the palm strike 2, launch on counter hit. As well as 1-1-2. 1-1-2 doesn't result in an uppercut, but you get essentially the same palm strike out of it. If you get counter hit by the third hit, same launcher. She has a magic 4, 11 frame magic 4 that counter hit launches. Very good tool to have. Not the easiest combo, but a little practice, you get used to it. It's just kind of a timing thing. It's not like a super hard micro dash or anything. It's just a little bit off. So magic 4, all the cancels off your uppercuts, which if you think about how dangerous that is itself, all these uppercut mid launchers, you delay the timing and turn it into another mid, and if they press a button, they get launched anyway. So that's the whole point is, it's a delay. It looks like her turn is done, so they go and they get launched anyway. That's a super dangerous concept that she has all over the place. Some other counter hit launchers, similar to 1-1-2, if they press a button in the middle of that third hit, that does it. As does forward 2-1-2. Forward 2-1 can go into swift step with all those other options there. If they decide to start blowing that up with jabs, you can do that, and that third hit on counter hit. Whoops, I didn't set counter hit. You can combo from that as well. Dash in and pick them up. So the third hit there keeps them from attacking your swift step. Counter hit launcher. What else we got? Up forward 1. Counter hit launcher. That one is also very interesting too. This is a 15 frame mid that's safe. It looks like that nosebleed they get on natural hit. You don't even matter. On counter hit, they can't do anything about it. You do a deep party crasher and launch them. Really good. The second hit of 1+4. Combo starter from that. Both options out of Swift Step. Swift Step 2 and Swift Step 4. The mid and the low. Counter hit launchers. Tremendous stuff. Just think of those options too. Anytime she does a string into the Swift Step, that little low, they try to press that button, you're doomed. You're doomed if you press a button anywhere around this character, basically. So both Swift Step 2 and 4 do it. Wind Roll 1 and 1+2. The high, which is the fastest option, so if you try to interrupt but you're slow, you get nailed. And so does the mid. Not quite as practical, but it's there. Wind Roll 1 and 1+2 counter hit. Back 3. There's several things you can do here. I've seen people do something like this. I don't even know what comes after that. I know you get the bow and arrow kicking and some wild shit, but if you catch this on a counter hit, you can party crasher and pick them up that way. So back 3 works. Down back 1. We talked about this as being a decent high crusher, and in exchange, it's not safe on block. It's -12, but you get your combo from it. Back 1 is safe on block. Mid. Counter hit launcher. Good stuff there. If they get counter hit by the second hit, a party crasher. That also works too. We talked about in her top moves how you need to respect the fact that this 4 exists, and you need to be ready to duck it, just in case she decides to do it. But if you know she's not going to do it and you want to try to interrupt her from doing successive party crashers, you know, you try to jab her out, you try to stuff her, whatever. If she did, then in turn, go for that 4, it'll counter hit and it'll launch you. So that's a pretty deep mind game to have to deal with. That's the only move she has that I'm aware of that's an automatic screw attack. Is the second hit a party crasher. So that's an extensive list. Different things all over the place. Cancels to make things safe, counter hit launcher. All the swift step options, the wind roll options. Everywhere she goes, she's got a counter hit launcher waiting for you. Tremendous list of things. She has 2 wall bounces. Forward 1+2 is an armored version that wall bounces, and forward 1+2 is not. So the armored one is -14 on block. The non-armored one is safe. Both pretty decent, honestly. Forward 1+2 is way better, but as far as the shoulder, you could do worse. for a wall bounce move, you could definitely do worse. There are worse, no doubt about it. So that one is okay. The list of moves she has that wall splat, I'm not going to go over here. It'll be in the Google Doc and all that. Just check them out. Needless to say, there are a lot. There's a ton that are safe, and there's a ton that are safe mids that re-wall splat. Just crazy amount of potential for this character to hit you in combos and do damage. Julia's combos will always follow a similar sort of pattern. There's 3 segments, so to speak. There's the opening hit, which depends largely on what kind of combo you got, whether it's a crumple stun or a bounce or whatever. The middle segment is mostly just wind roll loops, just doing that the correct number of times, and then choosing the appropriate screw attack at the end. That pretty much defines almost all the combos. So all you need to do is learn which ones maximize the certain situation. So I have all in the description in the Google Doc, all the launchers are marked with combos A through F, basically, just to indicate which is the one that you should go for and then which is the optimal version of it. Combo A is the basic B&B that you'll get from most airborne launchers like the hop kick or from the while standing uppercut. Looks like this. The first hit is just a magic 4 to keep him in the air. Then you do 2 shotgun wind roll. The first one you just do a 1. So it's shotgun wind roll 1. And then shotgun wind roll 2 is an option. You can do that. So Down, down, forward, 1, 4, 1. Down, down, forward, 1, 4, 2. That can work too, but to get a little more damage, you stop the wind roll in the second one, and then just down, forward, 4, 2, 3. That string is your screw attack. So the shortened version could look like this. Like that. You'll get a little more damage if you just cancel that last hit into the 3-hit screw attack. You can't always do that, so that's where it really comes in, is how many of those can you get. That would be the ideal screw attack, but if you squeeze one extra hit in the beginning, it's not going to work. See, that drops right there. Too many hits. So that's your combo A for the most part. A magic 4, 2 loops, and the optimal screw attack. Combos B, C, and D all start with this as your opening hit, because it's really good at picking up slumped crumple stuns and things like that. This one is the best example that comes to mind. Dash up, and then the wind roll 1, wind roll 2. In this case, you can't do the optimal screw attack because you did 2 hits in the beginning. So since that's out the window, you just do the first hit and then wind roll 1, wind roll 2. That's combo B. Combo C, you basically just omit the first loop and change into the optimal screw attack. Since you can't do 1 loop and then the optimal screw attack, you just cancel the first loop. So combo C would be required on, the only ones that I could really find are this counter hit. Right there. For whatever reason, you can't do wind roll 1, wind roll 2. It just won't reach them because of their weird ass little axis. So your next best bet is to cancel out a loop and then add in the optimal screw attack. And then the final version, combo D, is where you can't get the optimal screw attack either, so you have to cut out 1 loop and cut out the optimal screw attack. And that is resigned mostly for the counter hit on these palm strikes. Oops, when you cancel the uppercut into those palm strikes. Like that. Those are even farther off axis, so you still pick them up with that same move, but you just go wind roll 2 right away. So basically combos B, C, and D are the same thing. It's just the better the combo, you can get 2 loops and 2 loops without the optimal screw, 1 loop with the optimal screw, or 1 loop. That's basically combos B, C, and D. So if you can get B on a combo, you can get C and D, but B is just a better version of it. If you can, go for it. If you find yourself, not comfortable doing 2 wind roll loops or whatever, you have those other options. Combo E replaces this pickup with a down forward 3 and a party crasher. That is mostly used in the same situations, but there was always a couple of pickups that I couldn't ever get to work out. Mainly, well, I'll tell you what it doesn't work on is this counter hit, wind roll 1, or say the counter hit on down back 1. I can't figure out what exactly it is, but that pickup doesn't work on big characters, and it doesn't work on certain distances. It's a little bit particular, to say the least. So combo E is just there instead. If this doesn't hit for whatever reason, this usually does. That's a great pickup. So you're substituting this for your first 2 hits for down forward 3 and a party crasher. So combo E would just look like this. Or whatever, the same number. The way I have it written is just a single loop into the optimal screw attack. Because again, you've gotten 2 hits, so you either have to forfeit the second loop or the optimal screw. That's the pattern you see with everything else, so once you've seen what you can get, you can try to tighten up your timing, but these are the best that I found. Combo F is the big one that you only get from the 2 launchers like that, down forward 2, 1, or the quarter circle 2. They cause that big high cinematic launcher, which means you can get an extra hit in there that you normally couldn't, and that extra hit generally should be that. Forward 3 to 1. Cancel swift step into that. From that point, you go through what's essentially the same pattern, Another hit to stabilize and then wind roll loop or whatever it is. The combo that I'm most comfortable doing looks like this. Like that. I don't think you can get the second loop. You'll be too far away because of the number of hits. Even though you had a bigger launcher, they still push further away horizontally. So rather than go for 2 loops with a weak screw attack, I just do 1 loop and the better screw attack. There are other options. I've seen things like this. And then another party crasher screw attack. It's kind of hard. I've been able to do it once or twice, but I don't know if it's even worth that much more reliable damage because I just find it so inconsistent. So again, the same structure. Your opening hit is now this guy. So you either have to catch it with this or a party crasher or whatever, and then go about the same business. And you can even end, you know, the end of your wind roll loops. You know, do another loop and then another party crasher. You can do several of these. Like that's an option too. If you can't quite reach the wall, you can stuff some of those in there. So that's pretty much it for the whole structure. The only things that worth noting that are a little different are the counter hit on up forward 1. You just have to do a very deep party crasher to get it. Damn it. It's a little bit tricky once you get used to it. You have to cover the distance. Wow. There's one. Etc. So that's a little bit different. You can't do anything but that. You don't have time to run up and dash. You have to do a party crasher that's just right. And it's the same with the counter hit on back 3. It's a little bit tricky. But once you get the timing, you can pick it up pretty quickly. The trick with back 3 sometimes is to do triple forward 1, because it'll help you crouch cancel faster. But basically, as soon as you see that counter hit, party crasher, and it should pick them up. But once you get used to the timing of all these in general, they're going to be tricky. The shotgun wind roll is not a simple thing to do. Down, down, forward 1, over and over again. And then eventually you get used to down, down, forward, 1, 4, 1. 1, 4, 1, 1, 4, 2. It just becomes muscle memory. But the down, down, forward takes some practice. So once you're good at that, you'll eventually develop the timing for everything else as well, and the rest will kind of fall in the line. Some other mini combos worth noting. The back 4, that version I like way better than trying to pick up. Back 4, then an up forward 3 plus 4. Then a forward 3 in the back of the head. That's 60 damage. It's easy to do. I find it way more reliable to just do that mini combo instead of trying to pick up and jungle. Forward 3. You can do instant running 2-1. Same with catching a running 1 elbow. Instant running 2-1 is a better choice damage-wise and wall carry-wise than any of the old enders. So those mini combos are also kind of cool. As well as the situations where you don't necessarily get anything for free, but certain knockdowns, you might want to try to wake them up. In some cases, say this, bow and arrow kick. That beats most of their tech roll options if you do that, and then forward 2. But if they stand up and block it, they'll block it. But if you do this instead, they can't block that. So they're kind of mini combos, but you have to have your opponent react incorrectly. If they stay on the ground, you get this. If they roll to the side, you get that. So they're kind of just like little mini setups rather than combos. You get a follow-up, but they can guess correctly against your follow-up. So there's a ton of those things to look at. A lot of weird knockdowns like that. They might be able to tech roll this, but if you do it this way, they can't tech roll that, etc. So learn a lot of those. Anytime you see one of those knockdowns, test the computer to tech roll left, quick get up, etc., etc. Figure out what you're comfortable doing. As far as wall combos go, there are pretty much 3. I'll use forward 4-1 to wall splat. Basically what you're going to do is jab mountain crusher. Whoops. Just like that. Adding the jab in first, adjust the timing so that the last hit of Mountain Crusher connects as they crumple to the ground. In this game, once they touch the ground, it feels like the combo is over, and so damage scaling resets. That's why you can see that last hit on the screen says 60%. Once they touch the ground, the scaling resets, but they still can't get away. The combo is technically over, but it's not actually over. So everybody has that. That's why you see so many combos that are just like 1-2 shoulder or 1-2 bam. That bam connects on a semi-grounded state, and that's what you're getting here. The jab delays it just right. You can do it manually without the jab. It's just a little bit tricky. Like that. That quite tiny little delay, does the same effect. It's actually 1 point damage less doing it without the jab. The only reason you ever want to learn how to do that is if your combo ends and the wall splat is like right about here. You have to run up and do your combo. You won't be able to run up and jab. They'll hit the ground first before you can run up and jab. So what you ended up doing, not to mention, if you run up and hit one, you get that. If you dash, you get that. So it's actually kind of hard to just dash up and jab. You won't have time. So your last option is if they're hitting the wall and crumbling to the ground, you need to run up and then just start that. In that case, you need to delay it so they get the wall. The only other thing you're really going to want to do outside of that max damage is forward, forward 2. This causes that head first flipped over knockdown, that if they have to tech back in order to get out of it. If they don't tech back, you get, you know, free damage from it. Like that. That'll hit them again. They're not going to like that again. So eventually they're going to learn, oh, I need to tech back. Once they tech back, they're standing up again, and now they're vulnerable to your full crouch game. Because this forward, forward 2 leaves you crouching. From there, you have the ever-annoying bow and arrow kick. From the wall distance, once you hit this, that forward, forward 3 is completely guaranteed. They can't get out of that at all like they can in the open. So that's a low option on your full crouch game. If they're afraid of that, you can just go right to that elbow, full crouch down, forward 2. You can do tequila sunrise. You can do all sorts of things out of here. You can go for the mid launcher again, whatever it might be. You have all kind of choices from your nasty full crouch game. So not only does she get a mix-up, she gets a crazy-looking mix-up. A lot of characters will go for this. Once you tech, they'll either go for, you know, a low poke or a, you know, shoulder or something like that. She's got 30 different crazy-looking things she could go after. She could crouch cancel and, you know, sidestep stuff. She has plenty of choices. And the most of those start from the fact that the one move she has that does this is a full crouch, and her full crouch stuff is really good. Several ways to break the floor if you needed such a thing. I think 1-1 is probably the best damage-wise, but it might affect your scaling. This forward, forward 2 will also break the floor. Keep that in mind. If you're in Forgotten Realm, this is going to break the floor, so you're not going to be able to get that knockdown. I don't think she has another way to do it. But all the list of the other floor break stuff, those will be in the description as well. Pretty much you could guess what they are. Things that cause that little slap and stomps and stuff like that. You could guess what they are. 1-1's a pretty good choice. Forward, forward 2 is your other one. Julia's Rage Art and Rage Drive aren't really anything interesting. They're pretty straightforward. The Rage Art, down forward, 1+2. Average range, it's about 2 side or 2 back dashes. Just outside of that, it doesn't reach. It's not the best range, but it's better than some. The best part about it is how much her new personality annoys people. This, like, you know, bright personality, internet girl thing makes people crazy, and I love it. That's the best part about it. But as you can see, she gets nothing from it. She ends up 1.5 miles away from them out in the open. What's actual bullshit, though, is some characters get bullshit from theirs. Like, say, Josie, for example, if she does her Rage Art right here, she'll land right on top of you with your face down, head towards, at the wall. And she gets just all kind of oaky situations from it. Watch what happens with Julia's. Notice where I'm standing at the wall in the first place. Once the twisting arrow cannon hits, look where my feet are now. And now I'm in, and now look how far my feet are. Look where I land up. I'm 20 feet away from the wall when I started right next to it. So her Rage Art coughs up wall position. Bullshit characters, or characters with bullshit Rage Arts, don't. So that's kind of a negative, that you do lose your wall if it doesn't kill or whatever. So that certainly sucks. That's something I feel like it's just an oversight of animation. Josie's combo does not do that. It does not reset her hitbox out in the middle of the field when that happens. So other than that, it's a pretty average Rage Art. Her Rage Drive doesn't guarantee like an extra extension. Like some let you get a second screw attack, some will get you a re-wall splat. Hers is kind of weird, although there might be some other tech out there that I have not figured out yet that really like exemplify how to use it. The best situation so far is if you get a high wall splat. Oops, if you get a high, damn it, let me set it near the wall. Well, let me just show you out in the open first. You'll get the wall from almost anywhere. This thing blasts you across the world, like Paul and Leo. So if your combo is, if you're out of combo and you still haven't gotten to the wall yet, which is a miracle with this character, there you go. That'll get you the rest of the way. So you can get almost any wall. If you're already at the wall, I don't think you necessarily get anything like super duper for free. Like Kazumi, for example, she gets a wall splat. She can do the rage drive right as you hit the ground, and it re-splats, and then she gets the whole ass combo. In this character case, I don't think that's it. Once I do it right there, they're done. They're on the ground. We did a grip of damage on the way, but I don't think there's anything more I can use that for. Like if I let them crash a little bit. See, that didn't even pick them up. That was the closest you're going to get, and they're still on the ground. So I don't think you get anything further from that. But if you do a high wall splat, it will. 72 there. Is that even... Well, the hop kicks are shitty damage. We'll say that. So if you get them to the wall and a high splat, you can do this and still get your whole combo. There might be a way in between. Honestly, don't really know. Some way to maintain the rest of the wall combo. But as far as my knowledge, if you get the high splat, you still get your normal combo from that. That's it. So if you get to the wall, they stick up high, and you still have it to use, you'll tack on an extra X damage or whatever it is. I feel like there is some tech out there that I just don't know about how to let the wall slump just right and get your full combo from there. I just don't know what it is. Like, I don't think you get anything free after it. They don't get like a hard knockdown or anything like that. You don't get a resplat. So I'm just not sure if there is some more advanced tech. I haven't seen it yet. So I pretty much just save it for, you know, if I did happen to get the high wall splat, you'll get the extra damage from there. Or not. If you got a super long ass combo that just got you to the wall, you might not pad it with that much more damage. It's hard to say. So it's not the best rage drive either. It's not a super good range on its own. Both hits count, but as far as the first hit, it's pretty short. So it's a good rage drive. There are worse ones. It's definitely not one of the best. It's not a natural launcher out in the open, and you don't get a guaranteed extender at the wall. So it's in the middle. Both rage attacks she has are in the middle. So that will pretty much do it for Julia Chang. A very unusual character, as I mentioned several times. But once you've gotten used to everything that's unusual about her, it's going to take that much longer for your opponent to do the same. Different inputs, different playstyle, different ideas. But I think it all comes together to make a character that's really, really strong, really versatile for every kind of player. If once you've learned how to play Tekken, you can learn how to play Julia, and I think it'll be worth it. So for all those people that have been waiting the past 3 or 4 years or whatever to Julia to come back, even more than that, even those who've been waiting for her to come back in her conventional form without being JC, I think it was all worth the wait. This is a really strong character who didn't have to change to fit in Tekken 7 necessarily that much, but what they gave her and what they took away, I think, are very, very powerful combinations. So I hope this helps you out a little bit. Once you've learned just some of the basics from this video, then head to Twitter and look for all that crazy ass tech that's out there. See if you can find a better way to use that rage drive that I couldn't. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. You can follow all of my social media as well as the live stream. All the addresses are Mastermind 6000. Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, all that stuff. So check me out there, and thank you again for watching. We'll see you next time.